Hello and welcome to, it's one of our Marketing 101 series of webinars. We're upping the ante a little bit today with something that's a little bit more technical, a little bit more complicated, and I've called this DIY SEO for home care providers. So this is really to give you an understanding of what search engine optimization is, equip you to be able to do the basics of some of it. This is particularly useful for businesses that don't have a professional SEO agency, which will be the majority of home care businesses, to be fair. And I've been looking into getting profile on AI search engines and as well as ChatGPT and places like that recently. So I thought I'd pull together some of my learnings from that, which we're applying at CareLineLive, and you'll be able to pick that up yourselves and perhaps do some good things with that. Before we go into too much information about me and about CareLineLive, just some housekeeping. If you've got any questions, can you please put them in the chat thread, not the Q&A thread? Q&A thread, they tend to get lost. Natalie may well interrupt me if I miss them. I'm actually looking at a different screen to the one that I've got those questions on, so I'm likely to miss them, but I will deal with them at the end. It is quite a full webinar, so likely to be, the full hour, but hopefully, I don't tend to waffle on, so there's just a lot to get through. So I know we've invited both customers and other people in the sector today, so just a brief overview of CareLineLive. We're an all-in-one home care management software. We work with over 700 home care agencies in the UK, Australia, and a few other English-speaking places as well. We're on the NHS England Assured Supplier list. That means, we're fully compliant with that list and with their development pathway. Cybersecurity is covered off very high standards, and we have very high reliability sort of history as well. We're founded in the UK. Our development team, apart from for our Australian products, are all in the UK, and all of our support is in the UK. The CareLineLive itself is 3 different platforms. The providers providers in the office see the management platform, normally on a laptop or a computer. Carers have a mobile app called the Carer Companion app, and families can get access with their phones to the Care Circle portal. We're very good at customer service and customer support. We're, in fact, the highest rated home care software company on Trustpilot, rated excellent. That's 4.8 out of 5. And the other thing I'd say about us is that you get a completely transparent flat rate price. So we price per carer. It's one system. You don't pay extra for other bits and pieces. You get it all for the one price that you pay, and any new developments we put in are included. So I'm Marie Page. I'm the marketing manager at CareLineLive. Just to give you some credentials really for why I'm talking about this today, because I haven't always worked in home care. I've worked as a consultant, ran a marketing consultancy for the Digitality and a training company for that. So I'm absolutely in my sweet spot today doing training in digital marketing. My specialist area really was small and medium-sized companies. I've lectured in digital marketing at a couple of universities and for the Chartered Institute of Marketing, where I was also an examiner. Done a lot of training and conference speaking across the UK and some in Canada over the years. Got a first-class master's in digital marketing communications, have worked quite extensively with the Institute of Marketing over the years. So on with the webinar. So marketing essentials. Come back, and really this is just about digital marketing essentials. I think, and if you've been to any of my other webinars, you'll be familiar with this slide already, but let's review it. I think a website is absolutely crucial, and I assume that if you haven't got a website, you're about to get one, because otherwise you wouldn't be learning about SEO. If you want some background on what I think you need to include with your website, there's a link there. Natalie's going to put those into the chat thread for you as well. If you don't have a website, or it's really out of date, it's not well optimized for SEO, we do have a sister company called Mass Group, and they can help you with that. So Natalie, actually, if you find the landing page for home care companies on the Mass Networks website, or Mass Group website, I forget which it's on, but anyway, pop that in the threads. And I've also done a webinar about optimizing for local search. This is Google Business Profiles. So again, that is available for you to look at. So the rest of it, social media profiles, nice to have, but not absolutely crucial. I think you'll all want to be listed in a directory like homecare.co.uk, but spending a lot of time on other directories it's good, but probably not as important as having a website. And then the other bits and pieces, are nice to have if you've got the time to do it. I know that for a lot of you, you are not just running marketing in your organisations. It's kind of a bit of a sideline. If you want some inspiration for a provider that's doing this really well, look at Mega Nursing and Care. So, search engine optimization, what is it? Well, it's about being able to have visibility in the search results for your website. SEO itself is a very advanced topic, and I do not claim to be a super SEO person, but I've got a good basic understanding. I've managed SEO agencies for years. I've done a lot of DIY SEO on different websites. So, I'm reasonably well qualified, particularly to talk about this at an understandable kind of level. So I'm assuming that your website is pretty good right now. It's fast, it doesn't have broken links, it follows best practice. The webinar covers all of that, the previous webinar. But with SEO, everything we knew about SEO has really been kind of turned a little bit on its head in the recent couple of years because of AI search and the way that large language models consume and disseminate content. So I'm going to come back to the AI search a little bit later on. So I'm not going to go through this slide in great detail, but if you want to kind of look it up later, we will be sending you both a recording of this webinar and also a slide deck. So these are the kind of things, this is what I've covered in the other webinar on what makes a great home care website. So if you're not ticking all of those off, you absolutely need to get them sorted as part of your SEO efforts. Google likes mobile-friendly websites. It likes websites that follow navigation and the conventions of navigation. It likes accessible design. It likes fast load speed. It hates broken links. It likes unique content. So how do you make your website findable if you haven't got a huge budget for SEO? Now, Mass, our sister company, for something like, I think it's about, I should have checked this beforehand, 200 and something pounds a month, will do some basic SEO for you. A lot of agencies are charging thousands a month. In a sense, if you're paying thousands, you will get a super duper service, but I don't think most of you will have budget for that. So the Mass option may well be quite good, and that will certainly help you rank for some keywords. So, but let's talk about it in terms of an SEO, DIY SEO approach. So SEOs, the people that work in SEO, will often talk about over 200 ranking factors there are on Google. But fairly recently, a Google engineer revealed in court how their ranking algorithm actually works. And they use something called an ABC content framework. And it goes as follows. A equals anchors. So these are backlinks from other websites pointing to your page. And the higher, it's called domain authority. So the better Google thinks of the website that's linking to your page, the more it will think of you. When you're looking for backlinks, you are looking for hundreds. So with CareLineLive at the moment, we've got about 670 backlinks coming into our page. And it's one of my main focuses in terms of SEO, getting more backlinks. B is for body. This is how well the content you have on your website and on your pages match what people are searching for. And C is for clicks. This is how long people stay on the site before going back to Google. And of course, the big spanner in the works now is AI search, where you'll be Googling something, you'll see an AI response, so you won't even click on the website because Google's AI will have just given it to you. So Google calls all of this topicality. So, it answers the question, how relevant is this page? How relevant is this page on your website to what someone has searched for? And if Google feels it's relevant, you will be higher up in the ranks. So let's look at incoming links. So I use a tool called, it's a free tool called Moz Domain Checker. And you can see this, I think I did the screen grab a few weeks ago. So we had what was called a domain authority of 34. Now, The BBC has probably got a domain authority of about 98 or something. YouTube has a really high domain authority, 99 or something. So, you know, there we are on the scale. We're 34, and a lot of other home care software providers are there and about in the late 20s or 30s. So we've got a big number of root domains coming to us, and we've got 64 keywords that are ranking on our site. I'm going to talk to you about keywords in a little bit. And Moz think we may have 2% of incoming links could be spammy. We keep an eye on those. We're happy. We've checked those. We're happy that they're not toxic. They're fine. So you know you'll always get a few showing up there. So for you, where could you get incoming links from, and particularly links from pages that Google thinks are pretty good? So if you've got links coming in from local authorities, that's great. If you've got links, for instance, from local universities, perhaps you're recruiting from there, you can get a link to your jobs page from a local university. So that's a .co.eu or .eu.co page. You know, the .eu pages anyway. Getting them from a university site is really, really good. But it's about quantity as well as quality. So other specialists in your area, get your suppliers to have links to you. So if you are a CareLineLive customer, for instance, we will give you a link to your website if you do a little video interview with me, and we'll create a blog post and case study about that. So there you go. There's one free domain, one free root domain for you there. I talked a little bit about directories already. So homecare.co.uk is the first one I'd look at, but there are other places that you can list. They may well be local as well as national. If you're a member of the Home Care Association, you could see if you can get a link there. I can't remember what their policy is in relation to their members and links, but with CareLineLive, we're a member of a lot of local care associations, and when we're a member there, we get our logo and crucially a link back from their website. You could do a case study in a third-party blog, so that's the kind of video interview I was talking about for CareLineLive. You might do guest blogging on other websites. We'd be very open to running some guest blogs where you write about something to do with home care or your experience as a home care provider, and maybe thought leadership pieces. So if you look at Care Management Matters, the magazine, the one that's coming out, I think it's November, CareLineLive have got a thought leadership article going in there, and that's giving us a link back. So I know they're one of their sales guys quite well. We place advertising with them all the time, and I was like, Erin, could we have a link back, please? And he's like, I can't give you a link back just for nothing, but if you do a thought leadership piece, that would get you a link back. So that's what we've done. I mean, it's great for them. They get a free article effectively. Maybe local media. That's not particularly hard to get. Now, we have a webinar coming up later on this month. No, later on at the end of October, on how to get local PR. So come to that and then you'll learn about how to get backlinks from local and perhaps national media. So there's a whole list of other things there. I'm not going to talk through it because we won't have enough time. So I wanted to give you an example of an inbound link that we got at CareLineLive in the last few days. And this is from a website with a fabulous domain authority. It's an 89. So it's a company publication called Digital Journal. So we wrote a press release to commemorate Professional Care Workers Week. We put some words into our CEO Josh's mouth, and wrote an article about how care workers need more recognition. And our PR agency then put that out to a number of publications, and this was one of the star links that came back. So you can see the results of them on Moz, domain authority of 89. They've got 121,000 linking domains and over 17,000 keywords. So doing extremely well. But it's great for us to have that link back. And we'd be super happy to have a link back from any of you, of course. All right. So in order to get those link backs, you need to have decent authoritative content on your website. So what can you do? Well, you showcase your real world experience. The AI search bots will love this as well. So use case studies, use testimonials, collate real life stories from your carers, from service users, or perhaps from their family members. Include posts and videos that show practical hands-on knowledge. So for instance, what a care visit looks like, how we support clients with dementia. So demonstrate your expertise. You might have qualified professionals such as your registered managers, nurses, senior carers. They could author and quote in content. So you also need to, this is a little bit technical, you can ask your webmaster for help with this, but have them kind of in your schema on your website so that they are given sort of a proper kind of author's citation there. You could publish blog posts or guides about medication management, about how to prepare for CQC inspections. I mean, you know, maybe you've had a recent inspection, so you can do a little retrospective. What we did in ahead of time. What is the software we're using to help? Now, you do something like that, and you say how CareLineLive has helped you get a good or an excellent in your CQC inspection. I am absolutely going to put a link to that on our website. You could write about how you hire and train carers. We know that retention and recruitment is a real challenge in the industry. So as I said, include author bios that highlight qualifications and experience. That's one of the things we're getting in place here at CareLineLive at the moment. Then you want to build your authority. So you earn those backlinks from reputable websites. So, you know, you can find articles on other websites and say, look, I've got an article that we've written that's really relevant to this. You might want to put a link into it. Get featured in different publications and local news, get a link back from them. If you win awards, you'll often get link backs from those organisations to your website. Getting NHS links is great. Google really likes them. And collaborate with partners and suppliers, as I have said. Now, one of the things particularly AI search is liking nowadays, and Google, is if you create content hubs around your areas of expertise. Now, we've recently done this with a number of subject areas. One of them was email, and we have seen us go from, I don't know, about 30 something, number 30, so on page 3 or 4 of the search engine rankings, up to page 1 on the topic of email, because we followed this model. So this is actually, these images are showing care planning software. So that is our keyword for that. But we've got a page under our solution, that's in the top nav, all about care planning software. And then at the bottom of that page, we've got these 3 blocks of text with additional keywords that bolster the concept of home care planning software. So, you know, we're talking about effective care rostering, electronic care management. So we'll have our main page, and then we'll be writing 2, 3, 4 additional pages that have got much more in-depth about relevant kind of, you know, associated content. So this is the kind of concept of a content hub, really. And then you interlink them strategically to show Google that you own everything about this topic. So one recent, I only found this data this week, actually. So a company called Bright Edge have researched this. 82% of AI overview citations come from deep pages. So these are examples of deep pages. They're not from the homepage at all. So, you know, you go to the homepage, you find that Our Solution. Let me just show you with my mouse where this is. You find the Our Solution tab here. You drop down to that. You find home care planning software. You click down further, and you'll see these deeper pages. So this is the kind of thing that AI search is looking for. Okay, SEO and local visibility. So this is all to do with Google Business Profile. So separate webinar on that. You know, marketing is never just about one topic, it's about lots of interlinked topics, hence the whole Marketing 101 series of webinars. So, but as an overview here, you want to have keywords, and I will talk about what they mean in a moment, like home care in Darlington, for instance. You want to keep your content on your website updated, keep it relevant, remove old content. Use your blog to answer common questions. So for instance, how do I arrange care for an elderly parent? And you set up a Google Business Profile. So what are keywords? Well, keywords are the words or the phrases that people are using in searching for the kind of service that you provide. So home care provider in Darlington, domiciliary care provider in Darlington, in-home care for the elderly home care near me, care at home for seniors, slightly American, but you never know, home care providers in private home care agency, live-in care services near me, etc., etc. So you'll be wanting to sort of think about the keywords that people are using. Now, there are tools out there that will help you do this, tools like SEMrush. You can get, I think, a free trial of those. They're quite technical to use. So if you've not used them, you probably want to bring in an expert to hold your hand. Again, Mike from our sister company could do this, and he would do some keyword research with you to help you find what keywords would be most appropriate to sort of set up for your website. And then if you were going to create some pages or some blog posts that are using keywords as ideas for that content, here's a bunch of ideas that I've come up with for you. So I'm not going to read those through, but you know, that should give you lots of food for thought. And I'm sure every one of you here could write, could answer that, could write some content on those. So once you've got your keywords and you've got some content, then what do you do with them? Where do you put them? So this is actually something I built in ChatGPT, just to show you I'm using AI as well. Let me just move over to this so I can use my mouse for you. So they go in your page titles. So these are called title tags. So that's the clickable blue link in the Google search results. So an example here is home care services in Bristol, and they've got this little pipe mark and trusted elderly care at home. So they're trying to get quite a lot of different keywords into that page title, but it's quite an important indicator to Google as to what your page is about. Your meta description. So this is the snippet that comes under the page title in search results. So you've got your search result, and at the top, in the blue link, is home care services in Bristol, and then under that, you would have something like looking for home care in Bristol. Our experienced carers offer compassionate, flexible support for your loved ones. Now, in your website, so for instance, if it's a Word website, you could use something like Yoast to write, and that's where you write your meta descriptions. You can ask ChatGPT to help you come up with a meta description for your pages, okay? But you want them to be using your keywords. Then the third one, in your headings. So you want one H1, so the main heading of your page, what your page is about. You definitely want to have a keyword in there. So for instance, professional home care services in Bristol. Then subheadings, so you can have as many H2s and H3s as you like, and these are sort of going down the hierarchy. So you don't want to repeat what you've done in your H1. You perhaps want to expand further and go into more detail about that. So we're talking about home care services in Bristol, but then you might want to have, say, why would you choose in-home dementia care rather than residential? Number 4, in your body content. So you just sprinkle keywords naturally throughout your paragraphs. Don't make it look unnatural. You don't want to stuff it, but you do want to repeat, some of those keywords. And don't put all of your keywords in on one page. Just choose one keyword string and perhaps some supporting keywords that are synonyms of that really for that page. Number 5 is URL slugs. So this is the www bit. So you've got your main website address, then the / and then whatever the rest of that slug is to find your page. So, if your page title is home care services in Bristol, your slug could be / home-care-Bristol. So what you're trying to avoid is this thing at the bottom, which is page 1, 2, 3, or really, really long strings. Okay. Any images on your page, so this is number 6, need to have alt text. Now, generally, what your alt text will say is homepage hero or image number blah, blah, blah. And you actually want to give it alt text which describes what's happening in the image, but actually also reflects your keywords. And I would suggest that not only the image alt text is that, but the image file names, so the .jpg or .pmg is also, so you might have, for instance, elderly person in home care in Bristol or Brighton. The other bonus here is that this makes your site more accessible to people using screen readers. And then finally, you want keywords within some of your internal links. So you might have something on your homepage that lists the different services you offer. And you may say, for instance, learn more about our dementia care services, and you've got a hypertext link from dementia care services through to one of your other pages that just talks about dementia care services. So this page is super, super important. And if you're only going to remember one page about today, this is probably the page to remember. Okay, how are we doing on time? Nearly halfway through. Good. So that's good because we're now on to AI search in detail. So how search has now, I think, changed probably for forever. So search engines in the past, you'd put a keyword query into Google, for instance, how to find home care. And in the past, you'd get 10 blue links. You'd maybe get a featured snippet at the top, so one that Google chooses above the rest, which has perhaps a listing of different pages on that website. And you may get what they call an image pack, so some images featuring there as well. So your goal as an SEO would be to get to page 1 and then get to the top, be the featured snippet. But nowadays, what does it look like? Well, I did some screen grabs yesterday, which shows you. So I'm putting in how to find home care. So let's look on the right first. Ignore the one on the left because I know we're kind of doing this back to front, but that's because of the way that the screen grabs worked. So when I put that in, the first thing I see is an AI overview that answers my question. So a lot of people are only going to click on that and the show more because their question is answered in that AI overview. So suddenly you not only want to get to the top of the links down here below the sponsored links. Now, of course, if you're paying for pay-per-click advertising, you may want to be in the sponsored links as well. And here is the real challenge for us all. And I had a call with our pay-per-click agency yesterday. And they were like, oh, should we take a little bit of money out of pay-per-click and use it elsewhere in the marketing budget? Because really AI search has sort of taken over. And if we're doing quite well on that and organic search, maybe we don't need to spend so much on paid search. But oh my word, people still click on those sponsored links. And even if you're top of the organic links, they're not necessarily going to scroll that far down the page because, of course, Google wants to make money. It wants to make money out of us, out of you, if you're paying for a budget there. So that it really, really has changed, hasn't it? So if I click to, if we look over on the left, the screen grab on the left is a local search. So this was how the answer was to the question, how to find home care near me. So that gave a slightly different answer to the more generic search term. So that's quite frightening, isn't it? I mean, I think for us as users, the AI overview can be really helpful. They're not always super accurate. Some of these search engines, AI search engines, have been released a little early before being completely reliable. But, that's what people are using now. So why do artificial intelligence overviews matter? Well, they're stealing attention from traditional search rankings. So even if you're ranking at #1 on the organic search engine results pages, users may never get to see your content as AI overviews are now top of the page, as you saw, and paid ads are below them. So, even if you're #1 on Google, you're still below that. Featured snippets and organic links are increasingly getting displaced. So Google's AI is pulling from a much broader range of sources, not just from your websites. And it often will bypass top ranking pages in favor of content that's perhaps structured better for AI search or matches the user's query more directly. So winning a spot on AI could give you masses more visibility and authority. So if your content is surfaced as a source in the overview, you've been seen by Google or whatever other program it is as a trusted expert without having to pay for that impression. So it's kind of the holy grail nowadays, isn't it? So traffic loss for us as people that have websites is real nowadays, and it's especially true in a B2B environment, which is where CareLineLive is working, and to a degree where you're working, although arguably home care companies is a little bit B2C, but it's obviously not consumer goods. So we've noticed a drop off in the number of people coming to our website over the last few months, and really that's to do, I think, with AI search. So informational queries such as, how to find home care near me have been taken over by AI search rather than people coming into your website. So they're answered instantly without people having to do another click. So your content might be used by AI, but you're not necessarily getting the click unless you're referenced and they've clicked through on that little reference. And certainly for CareLineLive, our competitors are adapting quickly, and we're seeing competitors of ours, often those that we, perform not as well as us in, for instance, Trustpilot, or we know that their product is not quite as suitable to the search term, but they've adapted really quickly to AI search, and they may be showing up above us in those. So, they've just got better schema markup, they've got conversational formatting, they've got smart source tagging, those kind of things. So, we do need to be really on this. Now, I know the home care market, for providers is not likely to be as advanced. But, guys, if you can get on with this, you will be kind of getting those citations. So, AI search, large language models really are the new browsers now. So I just gloss over this a little bit because I've given you a lot of detail here with some links so you can kind of have a look back at where they came from. So as we've said, AI chat answers are now stealing links. So AI's overviews from Google and ChatGPT are putting instant summaries at the top, leaving many websites that would previously been seen unseen. And where AI overviews appear, the data is showing that the number of clicks to websites is falling by as much as 34.5%. Ahrefs reckon that average organic search traffic is dropping 21% year on year due to the rise of AI overviews. A SERP is a search engine result page click, so that's what you generally used to see a lot more on Google. So the prediction is that within 3 years, we'll see search engines and chat merging, and every major interface will default to more conversational replies backed by citations, which is a tiny little link back to where they're getting the source from, the information from. So a prediction that within 2 to 3 years, most major search interfaces, for instance, Google and Bing, will include conversational AI by default. You ask a question, you get an answer with cited sources. And if you want to go back to where they found that information from, you just click for detail. So that's where we're now trying to get cited. Now, citation sources vary by platform. ChatGPT really loves Wikipedia. Now, it's so hard to get a Wikipedia page. We are in the process of looking at that. And then only 11% from Reddit, whereas Perplexity kind of turns that around a little bit and leans on Reddit for a lot more references. You can click through to Nick Lafferty's page to find out more about that if you'd like. The data is also showing that AI visitors convert 12.8 times better than organic search. So, this is worth spending time thinking about. And, my team and some of the others at CareLineLive will know that I've been banging on about this for the last few months. I'm not going to talk about Surfer because that's another tool that you won't be aware of. But if you do know it, you can read that for yourself. So what is AI search looking for? So some of these things, thankfully, overlap with what you need for traditional Google organic performance. A good, healthy site, lots of fresh content. They love fresh content. Content that cites the references where it came from. So, if you've done a research study, where's that research study come from? If that's been published in an academic publication, even better. They love content that's cited elsewhere. So Wikipedia, Reddit, has it been cited there? Information about facts rather than fluffy opinions. So AI search is looking for facts rather than just, opinions. Although in the world of Donald Trump, how much can we, he would be citing things that frankly are his opinion, but they're far from facts. Yeah. Depth, an aside there, depth and quality of content, and a site that is really well structured. So to answer that question some more, you need to optimize for EEAT. So that's experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trust. So AI search tools are favoring content that looks credible, demonstrates expertise, experience, authority, and trust. So you need to include real names. You need to include their credentials. So that point I was making earlier about bios and use professional people, a registered nurse, someone that's got some qualifications, that has their author bio, which shows their expertise. Use photos of them as well. Content that demonstrates real world experience. So you see some of this is reflecting what we've already said about Google search. Content that showcases your awards, your accreditations, your CQC ratings. Add in first-hand experience stories from your carers, from your clients, use case studies, use testimonials. Now, one of the other things that AI search really likes is questions and answers. So content that answers common questions that people are asking. So AI tools really love to lift text that's already in a clear Q&A or bullet point format. So we are increasingly, if you look on some of those deeper pages on our site, you'll see that we've got FAQs at the bottom of those pages. So, what is X? How to do Y? Why does Z matter? So I've given you some examples of the kind of questions that you could ask and answer. What's the difference between domiciliary care and live-in care? How much does home care cost in your town? What qualifications do home carers need in the UK? And this doesn't need to be dressed up in fancy jargon. Use conversational language so it's easy for AI to summarize. So use local and service-specific keywords in plain English. So if someone's searching for home care for dementia in Darlington, make sure you've got a page or a section that has that in its title. So keywords again. So you could have something like, we provide dementia care at home in Darlington and the surrounding areas. So AI search often services direct location and service matches over vague marketing language. So could you create, for example, fact check resources? So AI is liking content that feels like a mini guide to home care, to a particular specialist area you work in, spinal injuries, for instance. So you could write something about the complete guide to arranging home care in Brighton. Write something about home care funding options in the UK explained. So, you may well find that people are getting your content and they're not remotely in your geographic area. But for those that are in your geographic area, like, oh, these people really know what they're talking about. Look, they're explaining how all the funding works. These are people that I feel I can trust my elderly parent with. And it feels like they get what the family and friends of service users are concerned about. Step-by-step process to arrange hospital discharge with home care. You can write this stuff, you know this. Okay, some more things. So keeping your Google business profile detailed and fresh. Now I have to say this is something at CareLineLive we need to work on a little bit more, but the kind of things you need to do, keep your services list nice and updated, add new photos, new articles regularly, and there's a Q&A section that you can use there, so maybe use that a little bit more proactively. See if you can get mentioned by authoritative sites. So these third-party citations, so local council care directories, different charities. If you do brain injuries or spinal injuries, you work with dementia care, all manner of specialist areas, you might be able to get mentioned by some of those specialist sort of umbrella bodies. Regional news sites again. Formatting, we're looking at short paragraphs, subheadings, so there's H1s and H2s and H3s again that are nice and descriptive. Use lists, use bullet points, nice scannable stuff. So the easier it is for an AI model to see the answer in a single chunk, the more likely you are to get featured.
Marie, can I interrupt you just for a second for this question that just came up? When you advise it's best to publish content, oops, my screen is playing up, that answers commonly asked questions, do you mean having an FAQ page or going further with a blog / article, etc.?
That's a really good question. I would have a blog or a page that is all about that topic, and then maybe have a section at the bottom which are FAQs around that topic. So if you, hang on, let me just see if I can share a different screen. I can pop that over here. Okay, so if we look at CareLineLive's our solution, I need to see which pages these are on. I'm hoping that there's an FAQ section at the end of here, but there may not be. Maybe there isn't. Let's see, there's one under ECM. So this is deep into our bits and pieces. Oh, I've got no FAQs there. I can't remember which ones I've got one. Let's see if we've got one on email. Definitely got a few in some areas. Here we go. Right, so here's an FAQ section on email. How does email improve care? You click on it and you see the answer. How is email used in a home care setting? La 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 la. So this is under our solution. So it's, you know, it's not a home page, but it's a secondary page. And we've got a fair amount of secondary content coming off from this. So we've written these 4 articles all to do with EMAR. So we're building that content hub around EMAR, and then at the bottom of this main page about EMAR, we've got these FAQs. So that's kind of a really nice way of trying to show how to show authority on a particular topic. And as I said, our ranking for EMAR has massively grown since we implemented that a few weeks ago. So yeah, it's absolutely working, and this is all done using WordPress. Let me take that out. Thank you for that question. That's really, really helpful. Thanks for interrupting, Natalie, as well. Okay, so let's go back to what we're talking about here. So in order to increase the number of citations you get, so this number of times that AI is going to mention you, you need to produce deep structured content and build brand recognition across credible sources. So, you know, that what I've just shown to do with EMAR is deep structured content. What would be even better is if we got a few inbound links to some of that content from other websites. And that will be, we'll be ticking every box there. And if Wikipedia or some news outlet was going to link to us, that would be even better. And we'd like the top of the AI rankings there. So as I said, they prefer structured, concise answers. So, you know, to answer your question even further there, create an article, start with a clear H1 that sort of poses the question. I mean, it doesn't need to be done in a question format, but it's very obvious that it's addressing the topic that the person might be putting in their search. Follow that with a short summary, then use numbered steps or a bulleted list to explain solutions. You might add a brief conclusion with the next steps. You might put some FAQs at the end. So what if you've already got a fairly big site and you've got a number of pages that are doing okay, well, why not have a look through it and think, oh, I've got a lot of long paragraphs there. Could I rework those into scannable lists that have descriptive headings instead? Frankly, humans prefer scannable lists as well, and AI definitely does. If you've been around for a while, you've probably got content that predates 2023. So we are going through a process with our site at the moment where we are taking out a lot of our old archive. We have historically produced a lot of content on our blog. So we have umpteen pages that talk about, for instance, the CQC. This is kind of confusing search engines and AI because it's like, which of all these pages about CQC should be the one that we're going for? So we're putting some redirects on some of the older pages. We're deleting stuff out that's not relevant anymore. We're perhaps merging some pages so that there's less of a kind of banquet for these search engines to go for, which hopefully will push a smaller number of pages higher up. And the AI overviews and Claude heavily weigh fresher sources. So, if you update those pages, that's all good. Now, I've referenced schema a little bit. So far, this schema markup is structured data that improves your crawl clarity, so that helps make your pages more eligible for AI answers, carousel rankings, helps AI and search engines understand your content without guessing. Now, I'm not going to go into any more detail about that. It's getting quite technical, but your webmaster should be able to, or webmistress, I suppose, should be able to help you with that. And it's certainly something that Mike from Mass Networks could give you a hand with if you decide to get some help from us. So as I've suggested, reformat your evergreen pages into Q&A modules. So break content into question and answer sections, nice conversational headers. So if you align to how users speak, you improve the citation rates you get in ChatGPT and Perplexity, for prompts like, what is this? How do I prompt? Where is this? Now, I have created you an AI-friendly Q&A content plan. I asked ChatGPT to build it for me. So if you are looking to create, to make some changes to your website, to create some content that helps for AI search, I've done some work for you. Okay, so when you get the slides, have a click through and have a look at those, and you will be able to just crib some ideas from that. So talking about question and answer, and that leads us really nicely into a question and answer time from me. So does anyone have any questions? Let me just flick through here. Thanks for putting the Mass Design link in there, Natalie. Good old AI assistance happening here. Have we got any questions? Okay, someone's typing a question. In the meantime, while we're waiting for that to come through, I'm just going to show you our most recent ebook, which is all about how to grow your home care business. I've written one of the chapters in there to do with marketing. So you can just scan that QR code with your phone, or you can go to CareLineLive.com/homecare-ebook. If you just go to our website, you'll actually find it under the resources section. Just waiting for any more questions. Oh, I've done well. I've done that in 50 minutes. As she manages to splash water onto her face. So AP says, thank you. I didn't know about alternative text for images and a lot of other points, so this was extremely helpful. Thank you very much, AP. Appreciate having the feedback. So Natalie, if you could put a Trustpilot link in the thread, that would be really awesome. So my request from you guys, yes, we'd like some incoming links, but if you could possibly review CareLineLive on Trustpilot, we will be eternally grateful. We are the highest ranked on Trustpilot. We've only got 4.8. We'd like to get to 4.9 next. You don't need to be a CareLineLive Trust customer to rank us. You can just say, just attend Marie's webinar on AI search and it was very helpful, or it was terrible and, she needs to learn a lot more. Whatever you would like, we'd like you to rank us. So it should take you all of about 30 seconds and we would really, really appreciate it. I would particularly appreciate that. Obviously, if you'd like to know more about CareLineLive, please get in touch with us. We'd love to give you a demo of how our software works. We don't do hard sell. We're always, we only want to sell you a solution that works for you. So do get in touch and talk to our sales team. Let me just check whether there's anything else. Favour, thank you very much for that. Glad that is useful. Thank you very much, Ekemini. Lovely. All right. Well, I'm going to close now. We'll get this edited up and up onto YouTube, and we will get an email out to you with the slide deck. Thank you so much for your time. Bye-bye then.